esteemed and honorable members of council, Chief of Staff for Mayor Carney, Sarah Kate, Chief of Staff, City Council, Elijah Simmons, Deputy Chief of Staff, Mergler, Ajay English, Financial Controller and Legislative Aide, our Office of Management and Budget, City Auditor Terrence Williams, Deputy Auditor Tamara Thompson, and members of the public. Today is Wednesday, April the 8th, and I would like to call to order the Finance Committee meeting. I am Finance Committee Chair Michelle Harley, and I will be chairing this budget hearing this evening. This evening, there are two budget hearings scheduled: City Audit Department, followed by the Department of Public Works, General and Motor Vehicle Funds. I would first like to start by recognizing members of the Finance Committee that are in attendance this evening by doing a roll call. Councilmember Darby. Councilmember Hackett.
Here.
Councilmember Oliver.
Present.
Vice Chair Bracy.
Present.
Councilmember Spadola.
Present.
President Tribicongo. I would also like to recognize any other council person present. Councilmember Owens.
Present.
Councilmember Cabrera. Councilmember Willard.
Present.
And Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Field. And Councilmember McCoy. Mayor Carney presented a proposed budget to council on March 19th. The budget as proposed includes the following: 0% property tax rate increase, a 9.95% water, sewer, and stormwater rates increase equivalent to $7.95 increase to the monthly bill based on the typical residential customer usage, which is 4,000 gallons of water per month. A 1.16% increase in the sewer factor for inside city customers only, $25.7 million transfer from the Tax Stabilization Reserve Fund for the following purposes: $1.7 million transfers to the general fund to balance the budget considering expenditures is far outpacing revenues. $4 million transfer to the Economic Development Strategic Fund, which $1 million is specifically earmarked for the Small Minority Business Program. $20 million transfer to the Neighborhood Stabilization Fund for the following: $200,000 for Housing Expo, $500,000 for the Wilmington Neighborhood Conservancy Land Bank, $500,000 for the Home Lottery Repair Program, $2 million for vacant lots, $16.8 million for affordable housing subsidies. The proposed general fund budget totals $212 million, up $10.8 million, or 5.4%. The proposed water sewer fund budget totals $100 million, up $5.1 million. There is not a capital budget for fiscal year 2027 because it is only done in the even years. The proposed general fund budget factors several items that will warrant much discussion during these proceedings. One, expenditures are far outreaching and outpacing our revenues based on the latest 5-year projections done by the Office of Management and Budget. Our fiscal year 2026 mid-year budget amendment is one that added new positions to the budget. Another is a net change of 19 new positions added to this proposed budget, which 12 positions pertain to EMS ambulance service. Also, the ARPA funding is required to be fully exhausted by December 31st, 2026. Also, CPS was initiated by City Council in CY 2023, yet this current proposed budget lacks the necessary funding for the continuation of this program. Office of Community Safety was established by an executive order of the mayor in March 2026 and was funded via a mid-year budget amendment. Then we have the property tax reassessment. This is a result of a court mandate that's within the purview of Newcastle County, who authorized Tyler Technologies to perform a property tax reassessment based on market rate value, which is revenue neutral. I am looking forward to working with the mayor and my colleagues to learn more on the plans for how the mayor intends to best handle, as well as Newcastle County, while realizing that the bifurcated property tax rate relives some of the financial burden. It needs to be determined if this budget provides the necessary funding and resources to assist with appeals and if any internal assessments that may be required. Also, we have the water sewer rates. While the FY27 proposed water rates submitted to council from the mayor are lower than the recommendations by UCAB, the Utility Citizens Advisory Board, this council must review these rates as well as understand the impact of other rising costs such as Delmarva bills, property taxes due to the reassessment, rising costs of gas, and other expenses. The mayor has shared his vision for the intended plan use of the FY27 proposed budgetary funds. Now, it is council's fiduciary responsibility to review the budget, have budget hearings with the various departments to get a complete plan on the intended use of these budgetary funds, and then to have negotiations with the administration on any changes that may be warranted to this proposed budget. By charter, council must adopt a balanced budget, and it shall be the duty of the council at least 30 days before the end of the fiscal year to adopt the annual operating ordinance for the next fiscal year. Council has shared its priorities with the mayor, which are inclusive of the following. One, public safety, which is funding for CPSI, expanding CPSI to other parts of the city, expanding partners and care hours, and the Wilmington Community Police Accountability Board. Also, the neighborhood stabilization. And under that topic and category, we have the home lottery repair program, the Goodwill litter program, the property rehabilitation program, affordable housing, community revitalization fund, the housing trust, and property tax reassessment inequities. Under the category of community, we have Juneteenth celebration, and we have the vacant contract structure for rodents. Under education, we have safe haven funding for a site location in the 6th district. We also have HBCU funding specifically for City of Wilmington residents only, as well as the Office of Educational Advocacy. Under economic development, we propose small minority business program, small business expo, and a nonprofit summit. Under financial stability, we have water assistance program and the property tax abatement program. And under parks, we have the Christina Park Unhoused, Friendship House, and a youth master plan. Also, ensuring that council legislative mandates are adequately funded, such as traffic calming devices, historical markers, residency assistance fund, escrow program, and the property tax abatement legislation, to name a few. Before I turn it over to Deputy OMB Director, Mr. Winkler, for presentation on the Audit Department, I would like to inform everyone that public comments will be made at the end of each department's budget hearing, and that we look forward to having participation from the public. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. If there is any follow-up information during any of the budget hearings, Ms. Bassnight will track and follow up on those requests. The budget hearings have time limitations due to time constraints. I kindly ask if all can be mindful and respectful of time. All budget questions should be a fiscal budgetary matter only and will be limited based upon limitations. I ask that if my colleagues have any questions, please raise your hand. It is intended for each department to present, then questions will be slated afterwards. And again, I'm going to ask my council colleagues to keep in mind, during questions, we'll do 2 questions, 2 follow-ups per round, and then take it to the second round. So at this time, before I turn it over, I would like to acknowledge President Congo and Council Member Cabrera. I would like to turn it over to Mr. Winkler, Deputy of OMB Director, to provide a financial overview, then followed by City Auditor Terrence Williams, as well as for a question and answer session with council, and this hearing is tentatively slated for 90 minutes. Mr. Who first?
Mr. Winkler.
Okay, Winkler, thank you, thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Harley, and good afternoon, council members. Today, I'll be providing an overview of the FY 2027 Audit Department budget. Next slide, please. All right, so the proposed FY 27 Audit Department budget is nearly $1.4 million across all funds, which is up $49,000 or 3.7% compared to the FY 26 budget. Next slide. All right, the general fund budget is nearly $1.3 million, up just over $49,000 or 4.1%. Total staffing in the general fund is 6 FTEs, which is unchanged from FY 26. Next slide. The water sewer budget is $139,000, which is up just slightly from FY 26, and there are no FTEs in the water sewer fund. All right, next. Okay, so here are the major funding changes for FY 27, all of which are in the general fund. First, the $50,000 increase in general fund personal services is due to steps and COLAs, along with previously vacant positions being filled at higher than budgeted salaries in FY 26. Second, there are several minor changes to general fund MS&E, which is down a net $1,300 or 0.5%. This includes a $6,000 decrease in external audit assistance in the accounting line, a $6,300 increase in subscriptions books for Gartner Research Services, and a $1,500 reduction in furniture, fixtures, and office equipment. All right, so those are the major audit department changes for FY 27. Chair, the floor is yours.
Okay, all right, so we're going to start off with our question number 1. Understanding the 5-year revenue and expenditure projections show expenditures for outpacing revenues for FY 27 to FY 30, and that FY 27 general fund proposed budget uses $25.7 million of the tax stabilization reserve fund. Can you please share how this budget aligns with closing any potential budget gaps?
Good evening, Madam Chair, President Congo, honorable members of council in attendance and online. Before getting started, I'd like to acknowledge my team who are in attendance. Our audit manager beside me, Tamara Thompson. I also have Michael Maldonado, senior auditor, and also Victoria Fuentes Cox, a senior auditor, and the newest member of our team, Shiv Patel. He's a senior IT auditor in attendance.
Thank you.
Regarding the question, based on the regulatory requirements, the auditing department must adhere to, regarding the city code and generally accepted government auditing standards, we really do not have the bandwidth to make any decreases to the budget without becoming non-compliant with the requirements or creating significant risk to the city.
Okay, you can go to A and B.
Regarding
Specify
any costs or reductions, and if the budget provides adequate resources to meet the departmental needs. As a result of my budget being very lean, at various times I may need to request additional funds to ensure we have the appropriate coverage and skill sets needed during emergencies or special projects when they arise. Regarding B, specify any high-level major additions, this is not applicable for That's it this time.
Okay. All right, we're going to move right on to question number 2. Considering the $1.680 million budgeted for stormwater utility and the water sewer utility charges across both the general and water sewer funds, please share if there are any plans to conduct a review to ensure that these charges are adequate, and you can also answer A. Thank you.
The funds mentioned above are covered in the city's annual external audit performed by Belfin, Lyons, and Schumann, BLS. Based on this information, I don't think it's necessary for another audit to be performed because it would be a duplication of efforts and a waste of taxpayers' money. Regarding A, no, I do not think it's applicable based on my previous response.
Okay. We'll move on to question number 3. With Black and Veatch presenting the 6-year financial rate plan for the Water Sewer Fund, can you please share if there are any plans to conduct any audits to ensure that the financial rate plans presented to council is sustainable, along with letter A?
Yes, this area is covered during the city's external audit each year by BLS when they audit the Water Sewer Fund. In addition, Black and Veatch are subject matter experts in this area. And with BLS auditing this fund annually, I think it's reasonable to assume the financial rates, the rate plans presented to council are sustainable. And regarding A, as mentioned above, the city's Water Sewer Fund is audited by BLS during the city's annual external audit each year.
Okay. Question number 4. Now that the court-mandated property tax reassessment for Newcastle County was done by Tyler Technologies, which of the methodology used is based on market rate value? Can you please share any budgetary or fiscal plans to audit the data file? Please explain why or why not, along with letter A.
The auditing department is in the process of conducting the city's annual risk assessment within the next few weeks. This is what determines which audits will be selected for the audit plan the next fiscal year. Regarding the property tax reassessment, I've had correspondence with the county auditor, and as of now, I think it makes more sense for him to conduct this audit because it's Newcastle County's data that was used by Tyler Technologies for the assessment.
Okay. All right. Question number 5. Can you please discuss the mechanisms in place to ensure that both internal and external clients are abreast of the city's fraud hotline? And please answer A through D.
Okay. We currently have $1,000 budgeted for the fraud hotline. We advertise it on the city's website. We also have documents placed throughout the city on different floors that people can obtain as well. Regarding the number of calls for FY24, FY25, and year-to-date, we've had 4 calls in FY24, 4 as well in FY25, and 6 in FY26. Specify if any calls led to fraud investigation per year for the last 3 years. We had one fraud investigation in FY24, 2 in FY25, and 1 in FY26.
Okay.
For D, share the number of risk assessments submitted in FY24, FY25, and FY26. We had 20 respondents in FY24, 15 in FY25, and 18 in FY26.
Okay. Number 6, can you please discuss the planned use of $242,000 budgeted in the consultant's account line across both the general and water sewer funds? And you can also respond to letters A and B. Thank you.
$198,000 is budgeted to cover the cost of the city's external audit fees this fiscal year. $35,000 is being budgeted for annual financial reporting assistance to the finance department. And we have $9,000 budgeted to fund additional auditing services provided by consultants as needed. Regarding A, specify the vendor name, duration of the contract, and how long the city has been doing business with the vendor. Our current our current vendor is Belfont Lyons in Schumann. The contract amount is $198,000. The contract duration, it's a 3-year contract with 2 possible 1-year extensions. The length of the contract and relationship, BLS has been the firm we currently use for the city's external audit. We've been doing business with them for approximately 9 years. And as far as B, specify if the vendor has affiliation with inclusion of DBEs. To the best of my knowledge, no formal subcontract relationships with DBEs exist or non-DBEs.
Okay. We're going to move on to question number 7. Can you please discuss the number of planned audits proposed for FY27 and the number of planned audits versus completed audits for FY25 and FY26, and include letters A and B?
As mentioned previously, we're in the process of gathering responses to formulate the audit plan for FY27. That will occur after we finish the annual risk assessment. In FY26, we plan to conduct 16 audits. We have completed 3 audits to date, and 5 audits are currently a work in progress. In FY25, we plan 15 audits, completed 6, and 7 were carried forward for FY26. Regarding A, specify the number of audits that will be carried over to FY27. At this time, we anticipate 4 audits being carried over. For Part B, specify the number of audits that have been done externally per year the last 3 years. Belfont Lyons and Schumann conducted the city's ACFR single audit, as well as the police and fire pension audits over the last 3 years. Avenue Insights and Analytics conducted the city's Comcast franchise audit in FY24, and Victor Prospero conducted the city's ARPA funding audit in FY24 and completed the Wilmington Neighborhood Conservancy Land Bank audit in FY25.
Okay. All right. Question number 8. Can you please discuss the impact on your operations as a result of the new integrated audit management platform, the Ops audit that was recently implemented? And you can answer letter A as well. Thank you.
As of April the 1st of 2026, we have launched the use of Optro, formerly known as Audit Board, to conduct audits. Utilizing Optro allows us to conduct previously standalone functions within the audit management system, such as request audit documents electronically, conduct the city's risk assessment, conduct quarterly status updates. And regarding A, specify if adequate funding is allocated. Funding has been requested in the FY27 budget for the annual support services regarding Optro.
Okay. All right. We're going to go to question number 9. Please share the latest updates from the recent peer review of the audit department, and if this budget provides the necessary funding and resources. And you can answer question letter A as well.
The most recent peer review was completed on November the 5th of 2025. The review covered the period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2025. The department received a passing rating, which means it is the peer review's team opinion that the City of Wilmington Auditing Department's internal quality control system was adequately designed and operating effectively to provide reasonable assurance of compliance with government auditing standards and applicable legal and regulatory requirements for engagements during that time frame.
Madam Chair, can you ask me to speak up just a little bit? I got a problem.
Okay,
Just a little bit.
all right. When we go into, Councilmember Oliver wants to know if you could speak up a little louder.
Sure.
Is that correct? She can't hear. She can't hear. Okay, we're going to wrap up our
For,
last, pardon me?
we have Part A, which was specify your plans to maintain and build upon the areas where your department excelled. The peer review noted the following areas where the City of Wilmington's auditing department excelled. The use of flow charts within the audit documentation was particularly effective in illustrating key processes and controls. Our department is committed to providing ongoing training to ensure staff is well-versed in applicable professional standards. Our department remains committed to leveraging technology advancements to enhance the efficiency, effectiveness, and quality of our audit process. The department plans to maximize available technology such as Third Line and Optro to increase the use of data analytics in our audits. In addition, we're continuing what we have been doing in terms of obtaining quality, relevant CPE training.
Okay, we're going to move to our last question regarding all your departments. As it relates to your FY 2027 proposed organizational chart, you can speak to that with the total number of employees, and you can also include the org chart and photo of all directors, managers, division heads, and supervisors.
For our team, we have six members. We have our audit manager, Tamara Thompson. We have a part-time office assistant, Rebecca Cruz. We have 3 senior auditors, Michael Maldonado, Victoria Fuentes Cox, Ariana Fleming, and we also have a senior IT auditor, Shiv Patel.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, thank you for the presentation with the questions and your answers. And so now we're going to go to the council members to find out how many of them have questions. Council members. Do we have anyone from the public that would like to comment? We have one on Zoom with the public comment. Adem Whitney, please state your name, your district, and you have 3 minutes. Adem Whitney, Adem Whitney. Okay, thank you. Okay, all right, I'm gonna turn it back over to the council members. Any questions from the council members? Councilmember Oliver?
Thank you, Madam Chair. When you say, I have a question for Mr. Williams. When you say the fraud calls investigated, and I see up there it was like 3, what does that mean? Somebody called, I mean, how did you identify a fraud case? I guess.
We receive a number of calls
Okay.
throughout the fiscal year, and some of the calls that we receive may not be applicable for our department, and so we will forward those calls on to the appropriate agencies to help assist with resolving the questions that people have. Tamara, would you like to talk about Any other
I just-
calls?
Thank you. I was just wondering how, when I saw it said you got 3 calls, but somebody called in and reported something, is that, okay,
Yes.
that's all, I was wondering what that, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members?
Good.
None on Zoom.
Oh, shit.
Ms. Bass Knight?
Yes. I'm sorry, I let the other council member go first. Councilman Willauer has her hand up.
Okay. Councilmember Willard?
Yes, my question is that I've had these ongoing concerns about the indirect costs that are put onto the water sewer fund that are general city expenses that the city pays for with the water sewer fund. There's just some expenses that I think are things that the city is doing that probably should be better paid for with the general fund. But I've asked this question a number of times. And then the last thing I did was ask the audit department if you might be willing to review the Black and Veatch indirect cost report, just so we could get another set of eyes on it. And the answer has been, Black and Veatch did it, and like we believe them. We think that they did a good job. But is there anything else that you might suggest so that we could potentially just spot check the accuracy of their indirect cost report? Is that something your department would ever do? Or is that something that has to be done? Like, what would be your suggestions for how we could kind of spot check the accuracy and not just take it for being like 100% accurate just because they produced it?
Well, as I mentioned, we do have a lot of confidence in Black and Veatch because they're the subject matter experts in that area. And as far as the indirect cost, that's included in the city's external audit that's performed by BLS. And they do spot check items throughout the audit engagement surrounding that area. So with the combination of the two, I have a lot of confidence in the work that's being provided for the city and shared with council.
Madam Chair, I had a follow-up.
Yes, go ahead.
Only because, a couple days ago, Black and Veatch was here, and they said that they don't actually check the accuracy of any of Black and Veatch's calculations for indirect costs. They just check to make sure the math was done correctly in terms of multiplying out the city's cost times the Black and Veatch, calculation. Like, they were pretty clear that they don't actually check the accuracy of any of the kind of estimates that Black and Veatch made. So I'm not sure that they're doing any kind of review. So I'm just wondering, does it make sense to try to spot check whether or not the, city council, 30% of our time is really spent on water sewer fund activities? So I think something like a third of our budget of like the city clerk is paid for with the water sewer fund. Like, does it make sense to see if that's like,
Well, as I mentioned, Belfin, Lyons, and Schumann, they test this area. They perform analytical reviews to see if there are any significant fluctuations in these accounts. And if there are, they're doing detailed testing. And again, I have a lot of confidence in the work that Belfin has done for the city over the last 9 years. They've done nothing to make me question their judgment when it comes to performing these type of engagements.
okay, Madam Chair, I just had one final statement.
Sure.
Only because they said they didn't check the accuracy. That's the only reason I'm following up. I have 100% confidence that Belfin, Lyons, that the external auditors are doing their job of auditing the city. They just said they didn't check the accuracy of like the kind of allocation of costs. They just said they didn't do that. But I understand that and agree with you that they do an excellent job at auditing the city's accounts. So that's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right. Thank you. All right. One last call to council. Any other council members? Okay. Okay. All right, at this time, we're going to take a 10-minute break. We will return at 5:18, I'll say 5:20. And the next budget hearing will be chaired by our Vice Chair of Finance, Councilmember Letitia Bracy, and that will be the Public Works Department. So at this time, we will be taking our break. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And two, before you leave,
Good evening, honorable members of council, Chief of Staff for Mayor Carney Saran Cade, Chief of Staff Simmons, Deputy Chief of Staff for Mayor Carney Stephanie Mergler, Financial Controller, Legislative Administrative Assistant Ajay English, Public Works Commissioner Williams, Deputy Public Works Commissioner Karocha, Public Works Derek Akbar, Office of Management and Budget, I'm sorry, and members of the public, excuse me. I'm calling to order the Finance Committee budget hearing for the Department of Public Works, General and Motor Vehicle Funds, as we are just resuming from a 10-minute break. Could you please mute your, council members, could you please mute? I'm Vice Finance Chair Letitia Bracy, and I'll be chairing this budget hearing this evening. Would first like to start by recognizing members of the Finance Committee that are in attendance this evening by doing a roll call. Chair Harley.
Present.
Councilwoman Oliver.
Present.
Councilwoman Darby. Councilman Hackett. Councilman Spadola.
Present.
President Congo. Also, I'd like to recognize any other council members present by doing a roll call. Councilman Owens.
Present.
Councilwoman Cabrera.
Present.
Councilwoman Willauer.
Present.
Councilman Johnson. Councilman Field. Councilman McCoy. I'd like to inform everyone that public comment will be asked at the end of each department's budget hearing, and that we look forward to participation from the public. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. If there's any follow-up information during any of the budget hearings, Ms. Bass-Knight will track and follow up on those requests. The budget hearings are limited due to time constraints, and I ask that all can be mindful and respectful of time. All budget questions should be of a fiscal budgetary matter only and will be limited based on time limitations. I ask that if my colleagues have any questions, please raise your hand. It's intended for each department to present, then questions will be slated afterwards. I now turn it over to Mr. C.J. Jones, OMB Fiscal and Operational Analyst, to provide a financial overview, and then will be followed with Commissioner Williams and Deputy Commissioner Karocha, as well as a question and answer session from City Council. This hearing is tentatively slated for 30 minutes. Mr. Jones?
All right, thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, Council President, Council Chief of Staff, and honorable members of City Council. This evening, I will present the Department of Public Works proposed operating budget for FY 2027 on behalf of the Office of Management and Budget. Next slide. All right. Public Works proposed operating budget request, which includes both the general and motor vehicle fund, is just over $43.2 million combined. Now up on the screen, we have the general fund. The department is requesting a total budget of $32.8 million, which is an increase of $1.7 million over the FY 2026 budget. Overall, personal services increased by roughly $441,700, while material, supplies, and equipment, or MS&E, increased by around $628,000 compared to the last fiscal year. Next slide. In personal services, total staffing increased by 0.50 FTE, or a half of a FTE, in the general fund, with the addition of the inventory distribution specialist to manage and track Public Works equipment, parts, and tools centralized inventory warehouse. This position is split funded 50% with the Water Sewer Fund and has a general fund cost of $42,567, including both salary and benefits. Below that, we have the salary and wages account group, which rose roughly by a net $161,000, primarily due to cost of living adjustments, anniversary steps, as well as annual reviews for executives and managers. Also included in this slide is employee benefits, which increased by a net $310,000 due to rising healthcare costs, mainly hospitalization costs as projected by USI, the city's healthcare insurance consultant. Next slide. Now on to MS&E. Repairs to building and structures increased by $547,000 due to the annual contract agreement with asset management. This increase covers property management, preventive maintenance, and capital improvements for the 19-year-old municipal services building. The expanded budget specifically addresses aging infrastructure needs while adding new contract provisions for security services and critical air intake repairs. Next slide. Within the communications and utility account group, which is up $105,000 compared to last fiscal year, water, sewer, and stormwater utility increased by around $95,000, reflecting the rate increase for the general fund usage of water, sewer, and stormwater services. Also included in this account group is electricity, which had a slight increase of $10,000 based upon previous fiscal year actuals and expenditure burn rate. Next slide. Green space maintenance increased by $30,000 due to additional maintenance and landscaping along the Riverfront Development Corporation Gateway. In the building and maintenance account line, nearly $20,000 was added to building and maintenance costs for the city-county building and asset management contract, with Newcastle County sharing 30% of the cost. Next. Parking fees decreased by $17,000, driven by cost-saving measures in fleet management, including revised eligibility for vehicle assignments and the reduction of parking garage access cards at the city-county building. Lastly, in the general fund, total debt service increased by approximately $477,000 based on the new debt service schedule, which includes increases due to the December 2025 bond issuance. Next. Moving on to the motor vehicle fund. The department is requesting $10.3 million for its FY 2027 proposed budget, which is an increase of $822,000. Next slide. Automotive equipment increased by roughly $105,000 due to increased vehicle costs as part of the fleet replacement program. Listed on the slide are the departmental vehicle requests and the associated vehicle total costs. Parks and Rec requested one 15-person passenger van to support the transportation needs for youth programming at William Hicks Anderson and citywide. Public Works has requested a heavy-duty truck with the dump to meet the increased operational demands for the forestry division, while the Treasurer's Office requested one SUV for the city treasurer for daily commutes and attending professional meetings and events. Next. The motor vehicle fleet management and maintenance contract with TransDev increased by $199,000 or 8.2%, due in part to consumer price index adjustments within the contract. Lastly, we have repairs to equipment, which rose by about $54,500 for non-target repairs to fleet equipment, higher parts costs, labor expenses, and vendor services. That concludes my overview of the Department of Public Works General and Motor Vehicle Fund proposed FY 2027 budget. I return the floor back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to Commissioner Williams and her team.
All right, so Commissioner Williams is remote on the call. Deputy Commissioner Vince Caroci, Department of Public Works. First of all, I'd like to thank Council President Congo, Chair Harley, members of council for inviting Public Works here to present our FY27 General Fund and Motor Vehicle Fund budget. I'd like to introduce some of our staff members in attendance. Derek Akbar, our Administrative Services Director, will be assisting me here tonight. Also in attendance, we have Director Steve Weber, our Transportation Division Director, and our Administrative Assistant Tina Romano Austin. Derek, why don't you start up?
All right, what I, first of all, good evening to the Madam Chair and the council members. What I will be providing to you is the mission statement of Public Works. The mission of the Department of Public Works is to operate and maintain critical infrastructure and facilities, provide superior services for our customers, and promote resilience. The Department of Public Works is complex and provides a wide array of services, including once-a-week recycle and residential solid waste collection, treatment and distribution of high-quality drinking water, collection and treatment of sewage, stormwater management, cleaning and sweeping of city streets, street construction and repairs, maintenance of traffic signs and signals, line striping, storm preparation and snow removal, debris cleanup and maintenance of the city fleet and city properties, collection and maintenance of GIS data, and much more. Our vision consists of to provide superior services with respect and with integrity and with the responsiveness that every customer deserves. Our priorities consist of, for FY27, the Beautify City initiatives, to infrastructure improvement program, continued street paving and reconstruction, and ADA curb ramp installations. Our performance measures. Public Works collects over 100 data points that are analyzed every 2 weeks. And those examples of the information that we collect, or the data that we collect: street paving work by the city, 2-week periods; trash and recycling collection rates citywide by route; total number of Public Works Services actions broken down by group; public property, sanitation, sewer maintenance, street cleaning, street maintenance, transportation, trees, water, and engineering; city vehicles fleet performance, the availability of the fleet; percent of Public Works Service actions closed by groups, medium number days to close, specific service task totals, broken down by task, special pickups, catch basins blocked, dead animal removals, water leaks, sewer backups, potholes, trash mist, recycling mist, yard waste requests, illegal dumping, requests for new trash or recycle bins. Public Works Service requests are by council districts, and we also track our overtime uses by division. At this time, I'll turn this back over to Deputy Commissioner Carochi to start the answering of questions.
Thank you. Understanding the 5-year revenue and expenditure projections show that the expenditures are far outpacing revenues for FY27 and FY30, and FY27 general fund proposed budget uses approximately $25 million of the tax stabilization fund. Please share how this budget aligns with closing any potential budget gaps in your department. And you can just answer both A and B.
Next slide, please. Okay, so reducing the general fund operating budget would require a reduction in services within our department. Costs for electricity, materials, supplies, and services continue to rise. Public Works has tried to minimize increases while still being able to perform department functions as required by the city charter and code. The high-level budget additions increases that are addressed in the slides previously by our OMB representative. Next slide, please. The below lines within our budget were cut after meetings with OMB and the mayor's office. They include overtime, parking fees, subscriptions, books, security guard services, stationery supplies, wearing apparel and safety supplies, food, miscellaneous supplies, parts and furnishings and fixtures. The amount of the reduction and the percentage decrease for the line is indicated in the chart on your screen.
With the Biden bipartisan infrastructure bill that ends September 30th, please share if there's any impact to your budget. And you can answer A and B.
Sure. Next slide, please. All right, so within the bipartisan infrastructure law, or IIJA, this does not affect our general fund or motor vehicle fund budget because no funding was received for either of these funds to date.
Winter Storm Fern poured an average of 6.5 inches of precipitation and 8 to 9.5 inches of snow, as well as ice. which was one of the worst snow events that the city experienced in over 10 years. Please share if your current budget provides the necessary resources and funding if such an event were to occur in FY 2027, and you could just answer all three.
Next slide, please. Okay, so Public Works budget's based on our normal winter storm response for overtime road salt, brine, and equipment rental. In the event of another storm like Winter Storm Fern, we would exhaust our equipment rental budget and require a budget amendment as was required this time. Those events are just so infrequent that it's not feasible for us to budget that amount every year. As it relates to potholes, all of our division supervisors have been instructed to keep a list of potholes wherever they are encountered throughout the city and report the information to our operations division daily. Street maintenance has been filling 40 to 60 potholes per day since hot mix asphalt became available several weeks ago. As it relates to equipment, no additional snow removal equipment has been requested in fiscal year 27. However, we are looking at replacement of our brine system at the municipal complex. Regarding street paving, capital funding for street paving and reconstruction was received in the most recent bond offering and should be adequate for the upcoming paving season.
Are there any planned operational efficiencies to help modernize the city to become more of a smart city? And if so, share if this budget provides the necessary funding and resources, and you can answer A through C.
Okay, thank you. Next, please. Okay, as it relates to solar panels, the city has installed solar panels at our municipal complex and at the Porter filter plant. There are no plans to add additional solar installations currently. As regarding electricity, the city is in the process currently of going out on electricity procurement for up to 1 to 5 years. That ordinance is before you at the April 2nd council meeting. Based on data from our consultant Enstrat Analytics, we are expecting a 3% or greater increase in supply cost in addition to the recent increase by DP&L in distribution costs for electricity. Regarding EV parking, our FY27 budget does not include any direct funding for public electric vehicle charging stations. Public Works has engaged RK&K to do a comprehensive parking study. This will kick off with a downtown pilot to address immediate needs of parking and EV concerns, and Public Works will continue working with the state to implement EV infrastructure.
Question 5. Please share if this budget provides the necessary funding and resources for environmental sustainability and for beautiful city initiatives throughout the corridors in our city. And question A is specify any updates with the tree canopy.
So within our budget, in the general fund, we have the green space maintenance. Covered within that are major gateway plantings for $175,000, publicly requested tree-related sidewalk replacement for $150,000, and RDC gateway grant for $90,000. As regards to the tree canopy, funding for the urban forest management program was just received in the FY25 GeoBond issuance. Projects are planned with DCH and Parks and Rec to plant trees on streets and inside of multiple parks this summer and fall. That will add to the city's tree canopy.
Thank you. Next slide. All right, could you discuss under your general fund any current vacant positions? You can just go A through D.
Okay, certainly. All right, so here's a chart of our vacant positions on the screen, along with the division, the title of the position, the division that they're in, the date of the vacancy, and the fund. One, the Utilities Facilities Program Coordinator and Engineering is a split-funded position. All the rest are strictly 100% general fund funded. Within the ones on that list, we have been able to whittle this down considerably. The Special Projects Coordinator and Transportation, I believe an offer's being made on that position now. The only other one that's out there for a while is a signal electrician. We've experienced extreme difficulty trying to fill these positions. Next, please. Okay, we are closely working with Human Resources to fill positions as quickly as possible. that are approved by the Chief of Staff and have made continued progress in reducing the number of vacant positions in the department. As it regards to temp, sanitation is using temp employees for general labor positions to distribute trash carts. Our street and sewer maintenance division is using temp employees for general labor positions. Operations is using temp employees in tree crew technician positions. Their transportation division has brought in temp employees to assist with the special projects coordinator responsibilities and general labor positions. There is an operational need for the positions in the chart. Further reductions of position will impact services. Currently, we are averaging about 18 to 25 vacancies due to employee turnover and have had trouble in the current labor market attracting and retaining qualified staff due to available salary ranges and residency requirements. We actually have made a lot of progress on this over the last year, because when we last presented this to you, it was 25 to 35 vacancies at any one time. So we have cut that down considerably. We're down, I think, to about 19 or 20 right now.
Thank you. Discuss any proposed changes to positions, any positions that were new, deleted, upgraded, realigned, et cetera. And you can just answer the second question, which is specify if any new positions are revenue generating.
Okay.
I don't mean to be out of line, but for the last question, the residency, I wasn't for sure if that part was changed or something. I'm sorry.
So that it was the last.
Yes, that was the last, he addressed it.
Thank you.
There's one new position change within the general fund. It's inventory distribution specialist. That is split 50/50, water, sewer, and general fund. And as our OMB analyst read off earlier, that is to assist with our storage warehouse down at the municipal complex to oversee distribution of parts, equipment, and tools. That's the only change to general fund positions.
Thanks. And this is not a revenue generating position, correct?
No, it's more about inventory and loss control.
Thanks. Next slide. Discuss the 1.3 million that's budgeted for professional fees, and looks like that's divided between 352,000 in consultants, 278 engineers, and 711 in temp agency. And you can just go A through D.
So, next slide. All right, so we've got on the screen in front of you a chart which indicates the name of the consultant, the amount that we anticipate the contracts to be. Most of these are all one-year contracts. We have a scope of services for each one and the length of service that we've been doing business with a vendor if we know who we're going to be using for that particular task. That's broken down between our consultants line and then our engineering line. Tech International is one of the DBE engineering firms that we have been doing business with for some time, almost 20 years. And Integrity Staffing is a HR contract, but that is how we get our temp agency employees for our general labor positions across all the operating divisions. Next, please. As it relates to Integrity Staffing positions, here are a list of the titles of the temp agency employees we're using with the current rate and the length of service that those individuals have been with the department. And we also are using a couple of limited service employees. They typically change out every 6 months. Those are sanitation workers to assist with shortages in that division. Next, please. Public Works managers will bring in the necessary assistance that we need for a project at hand. Specific expertise is often required, for which we don't have someone on staff that can design or engineer a specific project. By using outside engineers, the design liability is assumed by the engineer of record and not the Public Works manager. With a large number of projects that are ongoing, there are not enough project managers on staff, so our staff manages outside engineers and consultants to ensure that the tasks and projects are completed successfully.
Not sure if you shared or if it's in the chart, but I couldn't see it. Are any of those vendors DBs?
Tech International,
DBE,
that ones
okay.
that were bolded and italicized,
Okay.
that is a DBE engineering firm.
Thank you. And please share if this budget has adequate funding and resources to address the needs inclusive of transportation, street cleaning, rubbish collection, property maintenance, and then also specify the impact of the impact to the above for 460 $1,000 that's budgeted in overtime.
Okay. All right, so in the Public Works and putting together FY27 operating budget, we, for personal services, materials, supplies, equipment, have budgeted according to our projected needs for the fiscal year, and those are reflected in this proposed budget. Regarding overtime, broken down by division, overtime for administration, we have $10,000. It's typically for snow event and for our split-funded construction inspectors, street maintenance, $3,800 for street repairs and snow events, transportation division, $135,000. This is for emergency repairs after hours, knockdowns of shingles, street light outages, crosswalk painting, and other special projects. Next slide, please. Street cleaning division, $170,000. That's for snow events, leaf pickups, and cleanup for special events. Our rubbish collection, $110K with snow events, hazardous, household hazardous waste events, and trash requests. And our property maintenance division for $30,000 for snow events, special events, and emergency call-in time. As regards to overtime, all of it must be authorized ahead of time by the division director and approved by the division supervisor, and it's monitored regularly through our Kronos timekeeping system by management.
Next slide. Okay, discuss the approximately $3.3 million that's budgeted for contracted maintenance, which is up $547,000 over the prior year's budget. And you can go through A through E, specifically sharing the process for publicly requesting tree-related sidewalk replacement and the amount of allocated funding available. And you can just do all of them.
Certainly. All right, so on your screen, there's a chart of the various vendors that we use, the amounts, contract expiration date. These are all anticipated to be one-year contracts, description of the scope and service, the amount of time that we've doing business with the various vendors. Next slide, please. Breaking down each individual character group under repairs miscellaneous, we have $6,000 for municipal complex maintenance and repairs. Repairs to roads and appurtenances, $65,000, which is miscellaneous street, curb, sidewalk, and brick crosswalk repairs. For building maintenance, $1.585 million. This is for the city-county building management and maintenance. These costs are split 70-30 with Newcastle County. Camera maintenance for the building surveillance system, and then Newcastle County, we pay for electricity and utilities, and again, we pay 70% because we occupy 70% of this building and they occupy 30. Then there's the green space maintenance, which is $415,000. We've discussed this earlier, but it's contract maintenance for major gateway plannings, public requested tree sidewalk replacement, and riverfront and Christina River bridge approach gateway maintenance. And next slide, please. We also have the repairs to equipment line for $41,000. This is for HVAC, plumbing, and elevator repairs at the municipal complex, winch inspections, and repairs to pallet jacks, forklifts, and our paint striping machine. And we also have repairs to buildings and structures, $1.191 million. This is our asset management contract for the municipal complex and those associated buildings for management and maintenance services at that location. Next slide, please. The process for publicly requested tree sidewalk replacement requires a 311 service request is entered in the city works or an emergency tree removal occurs. In most cases, there is damage to a large portion of the sidewalk when a tree is uprooted. If the stump and roots are large, a contractor may be called in to have them removed if it's something that our forestry crew can't handle on their own. Regarding traffic calming devices, the total amount spent in FY26 year date was $79,856. Next slide, please. And this is a location of the traffic calming location and activities that occurred so far this fiscal year. We have Lancaster Avenue and Broome, Lancaster Avenue corridor and accident history review, all-way stop control reports for various location, intersection review and recommendations at Walnut, South Walnut and A, MLK Boulevard and Market and East Front Street intersection review and recommendations, 16th and Clifford Brown Walk intersection and drainage review, a 12th Street road diet review, Baynard Boulevard and Washington Street Corridor Review, citywide traffic calming manual, and a citywide all-way stop control guidelines that our consultant engineer RK&K has been working on.
And I just wanted to confirm, so on your chart that lists all of the contracted maintenance, it indicates which ones were DBEs, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
going through this list here, I'm not aware of any of them
Okay.
that are, or I would have bolded that for you.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that was on record.
Certainly.
All right, question 6. Considering the rapid growth of waste tonnage at the Cherry Island landfill, does this budget allocate the necessary funding and resources for recycling and refuge? And you can just answer A through C.
Yeah, next. Okay, so we'll start out with landfill fees. They're budgeted at $1.96 million, which covers the disposal of approximately 28,000 tons at $70 per ton. In the chart below, you'll see by fiscal year 24, 25, 26 year to date, how much was collected in the tipping fee. It actually did reduce from 24 to 25 based on the DSWA rate schedule. Our special pickups, chart below that, 24, 25 year to date, the number of special pickups, revenue generated for those special pickups. Next slide, please. Under the Recycle Bank program, this funding covers cart replacement and inventory of our first and second generation trash and recycle carts. Approximately 60% of the first generation recycle carts have been replaced so far, and there were a total of 19,200 carts as of July 21. We also cover the cost of proprietary software and equipment upkeep in this budget request. That's for cart tracking and cleaning. There was another part of the question that refers to landfill gas. The city does not own or operate the Cherry Island landfill. This is operated by DSWA and Archaea Energy. The city uses landfill gas at our renewable energy biosolids facility for electricity generation and sludge drying at the plant. The city pays Archaea Energy, the supplier of the gas.
Next question. As it relates to the projected funding slated for municipal street aid, share the number of LED street lighting slated to be installed in FY26 and projected in 27 per district. Also share if this budget provides adequate resources and funding for parking signage and a new parking locator mobile app. And also discuss the $1.4 million budgeted for water, sewer, utility, and stormwater utility, and share if this charge is adequate or something that may need to be revisited legislatively at a later date.
I think you might have like 3 or 4
Oh,
questions.
you know what? I sure did.
Running
I just went
together
right
here.
through. So let's just stop at 7.
I'll get to all of them, but they're gonna be on different slides.
Well, yeah, you might as well just keep it moving.
All righty. FY26, actually, this should read FY27. Municipal street aid is budgeted for $1.157802. That's the same amount as fiscal year 26 that was received. This funding is used for electricity costs for streetlights and traffic signals. Approximately 1,000 city-owned streetlights have been converted to LEDs through FY26. Privately owned streetlights located within the city's right-of-way are being moved to the city's account and converted to LEDs. This work continued with CyberLink Train in FY26. LED conversion throughout the city has been substantially completed. We are awaiting final reporting from CyberLink Train and Delmarva Power to confirm project completion. And any lights that are encountered that are not LEDs are replaced by city crews if they're owned by us, or they are reported to Delmarva Power for scheduled replacement by others if they're Delmarva-owned streetlights.
Next slide. Okay, I already asked that
Yeah.
question. So you can just
Okay,
answer.
next slide, please. Okay, so our traffic shop makes up and installs parking signs as needed. Additional parking kiosks are being purchased and installed through capital funding. That's an ongoing project. Our parking vendor has a mobile app called Park Mobile available for use at the parking kiosks. Finance also has text-to-park number available on each kiosk. And there's a idea or a picture of what that text-to-park sign looks like that customers would encounter.
Next slide. All right, this is the discussion on the water sewer utility.
Okay. So funding for our water sewer charges and stormwater charges is allocated in our property maintenance budget for all of the general fund city-owned properties. The operating budget is adjusted based on increases to the water sewer charges and in stormwater charges as they are proposed. The water sewer stormwater charges are increased to provide adequate reserves, financial stability, and to ensure that the utility is self-sufficient. The utility is fully supported by user fees.
All right, next slide. All right, please discuss the $6.7 million that's budgeted for the motor vehicle fleet replacement plan, and you can just answer all three of the sub-questions.
All right, so we've got a couple charts on here. This is what we refer to as the FY2027 replacement plan. These vehicles are all typically replaced in kind. We will meet with the departments to determine if there's any scope change or if the vehicles that they have are still pertinent to their operation frequently. But they are replaced based on our fleet maintenance contract and the scheduled life of the vehicles. So this first chart is the first part of the replacement plan, sorted by department, vehicle type, and the vehicles that are actually being replaced. If you could go to the next slide, please. Okay, this is the second part. There's also 3 vehicles. You asked for any new vehicles. They were already discussed individually by our OMB representative, but they are at the bottom of the list. Next slide, please. Our fleet replacement plan based on availability and state contract pricing. Some may be ordered as hybrid or EVs. Our fleet vehicles, again, I kind of already talked about this, but our fleet vehicles need to be replaced according to our fleet contract maintenance life cycle based on the vehicle type or use, or additional non-target costs will be incurred. So it's important to control cost to replace vehicles timely. You requested a list of fleet hybrid and EV vehicles. That's on the chart on the screen. Next, please. And regarding the next part of the question regarding fleet maintenance, our fleet maintenance and repair services contract was awarded to Verse Vehicle Service, which is now referred to as TransDev Fleet Services. The original contract was effective October 1st of 17. This contract has been amended for 5 years and with 3 one-year extensions possible. That was approved by council ordinance for the upcoming fiscal year. Targeted expenses are budgeted at $2.548 million. The contract expires on June 30, 2033. That includes the 3 one-year extension periods. The services provided include maintaining the fleet inventory, preventative maintenance, emergency repairs, vehicle and equipment repair, vehicle safety and emissions inspections, snow operations, new vehicle inspections, and other fleet-related activities. Within this same line of our budget, there's also AIM Fuelmaster Annual Maintenance Agreement, our AIM Fuelmaster Titanium Plan, which is cloud-based data management for our fuel system, and our Syntec service for reading fuel modules for $23,000. Next, please.
Considering the escalating costs for motor fuels and lubricants, does this budget provide for any necessary alternative measures to help mitigate expenses? And you can specify if biofuels is an option and whether it, yes or no.
Okay. Next, please. All right, so we budgeted this year, same as last year, unleaded gasoline, 1.173 million. That is for 335,000 gallons based on our 12-month actual usage, and diesel for 502,000 based on 150,000 gallons based on actual 12-month usage. We did not factor any of these recent spikes into it, but are hopeful that pricing will normalize here in the foreseeable future. Our contracts that Public Works puts out for bid for diesel and gasoline, they lock in delivery prices. The price of the products fluctuate based on market conditions, so What we do is we pay the Philadelphia Opus Pad 1 low price of the day on the day we order gasoline or diesel fuel. The city is tax exempt, so that saves us about 42 cents per gallon over retail. We do have our AIM Fuel Master system, as I referred to earlier. It's on all of our city vehicles, requires a city ID badge to dispense fuel, and the vehicle VDM must be in the database of vehicles that's allowed to receive fuel. If both of these verifications aren't met, fuel will not be dispensed to a vehicle. We have looked at biofuels in the past. We actually did used to purchase E85. The cost per gallon was found to be higher with lower BTU value than regular gas. We had a lot of issues when we were using E85 with damage to vehicles and separation due to moisture in the tanks. So we actually got away from using E85 probably 12 or so years ago. All the research I've done was able to do on biodiesel. It's mainly used in the West Coast. Was having a tough time even finding pricing for it on the East Coast. But if we were to switch to something like that, we would have to allocate tankage for the different products that we don't have down there. We only have so many above-ground storage tanks at our fuel island.
Thank you.
Next slide, please.
Next slide is,
I'm sorry. These are fuel charts, just to give you an idea. I've present these every year to council, so you can see that where we are now in 26, we actually had higher spikes in fuel in around 23 range. We're getting close to it, but hopefully that we bend that curve down here soon. And next, please. And this was the org charts.
org charts.
This is across five different slides because our department's fairly large. So if you could go to the next slide, please. This is the organizational chart for the commissioners and directors for fiscal year 27. Next, please. This is our operations division with our supervisors and director indicated, and then the staff that comes underneath each of those various supervisors. Next, please. Our water division, that we'll get into more in a couple of weeks. Next slide, please. Our administrative division, including our call center, it's our administrative services director, Derek Akbar's group. Next. Our engineering division, again, they're mainly in water sewer, so we'll get more into that in a couple of weeks at that budget hearing. And the next slide. Our transportation division with our director, Steve Weber, and his staff.
Thank you. Now we will open it up for questions from council members. Councilwoman Oliver.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question regarding the fleet services. I put in an ordinance several years ago regarding the vehicles. They were going up for auction, and we put it in that city employees should be able to look at them first. I'd just like to know, now it seems like it's a whole nother process. So the question is, what is the process with the vehicles when they're called, they're out-of-life cars, and they normally over Parks and Recreation? What's the status of them cars now?
All right, so I can comment on that. Under the city code and charter, the disposition of property, in this case vehicles, is handled by the Finance Department of Procurement and Records. So currently the procedures, we give them a list as these vehicles are turned in and vehicles are replaced. We'll determine what vehicles. Sometimes if the vehicles are low miles in good shape, we may keep them as a loaner. For the most part, though, they're in pretty bad shape by the time they're 8 to 10 years old when they're being turned in. We provide a list to Procurement and Records, and then they put them on Gov Deals for auction. We've actually proposed some other means and with other companies locally for them to dispose of vehicles, but that is strictly under their purview. We provide the list. This is no longer serviceable equipment, and then they'll publish it online for either online auction and to dispose of it and try to recoup whatever funds remaining value they can from those vehicles that are being disposed of.
Thank you.
Deputy Chief of Staff.
And I am drafting a message right now to Finance and Procurement to see what our process is for ensuring that employees are able to bid.
Right, thank you. I want to just follow up. Yeah, I mean, that was an ordinance that was put in, and the reason why I put it in is because individuals were going over there buying cars that was allegedly out of life. Young lady bought a car, her daughter was going to college, took her back and forth to South Carolina, and I understand it's a procurement, but the administration is not following through with the ordinance. It's supposed to be, like I said, go online. It's to be, you have city workers here who's catching a bus who can possibly use some of them vehicles over there. If the young lady if her mother bought a vehicle from over there and it got it back and forth, from South Carolina for almost 2 years, it wasn't out of life. So the ordinance is supposed to allow city workers, city council, anybody in this city building to look at the cars before they are sent out to anybody. So I would appreciate it, right? And that is not being done. So that's not on y'all, that's on procurement. I just wanted to put that out there. One more follow-up.
Go ahead.
No, Vince, I talk to Vince all the time about everything, but I would like to follow up on the traffic common device contract maintenance. Now, I'm looking at all these locations. Could you clarify if these are locations that will be in the upcoming common device? Because the money's been sitting there for several years. When you said contract and maintenance, what does that mean when you put these locations? Could you be?
The funding for the studies on all these locations, for speed studies and for all-way stop controls and so forth, was spent with our engineer at RK&K to evaluate these intersections where we've gotten complaints about. We utilize that as well as other tools, speed studies, and so forth, to look at intersections to determine what actions are warranted as it relates to speed control, whether it's enforcement issues. We have studies that we can do. We can actually look at areas over the course of months or years to determine what the speed is, what the high speed is, what 80% or 90% of the average speed is. And
Wait a minute, slow down, because you know you can go. So you're just, I just wanted, I know, so they are, the company's just looking at these particular areas, and the reason why I'm saying that is because Mr. Earl Tate, who has been coming here for 4 or 5 years talking about Jessup Street, I don't even see it on here. And that was one of the reasons we put it in here, because there's so many accidents where he helps the kids get on the bus, helps the kids get off the bus, and I don't see Jessup Street on here. I don't even see a cross street on here that he is constantly coming in here about. So I would like to have this organization, please look at the street. And also, we met with Del Dot, and I know someone from your department was there, and we were supposed to have a follow-up. So we could talk offline, but we need a follow-up with Del Dot because they have money for some of these devices, and I don't understand why we're not utilizing some of the funding that they have. It's like we just keep ignoring these common devices, and it's needed. It's needed. It's needed. Y'all, maybe the area, that you live in or other people in Public Works live in, you don't have a speeding problem. But we have constituents who are constantly calling, and accidents show it. I mean, another street I don't see is Walnut and 11th. I mean, they had to put a whole fence. The lady had to get 2 new cars coming right between, that's 11th Street, because that's 10th, 11th. 11th and Walnut, they come down that hill. We've been asking for either a flashing light or something. I know the study has shown it's been 10 accidents there and at least 1 fatality, and it's not on here. So I just like to make sure some of the streets, not the streets that they're picking, but some of the streets that we are submitting, because I know I submitted 4 of them, and I only see 1 of them on here, so we can talk offline. But I would like, the money's been sitting in the budget for 2 years. I know the last administration wasn't in favor, but this administration is. And I think, when that money sits around like that, it just gets moved around. But let's move it in the area it should be moved in. And my last question, I had 3 questions, and
Councilwoman, before that, Deputy Chief wants to respond.
Oh, sure.
Just real quick on Walnut Street, that is a state-maintained road, and DelDOT does have a plan. They're just not the fastest at implementing. So we can send that over to you, what they plan to do to calm traffic on Walnut.
Well, I'm saying coming down 11th Street don't mean we can't put signs that say slow down or something, because it's coming down our street.
Got it. And 11th is also
Oh, coming straight down?
State
They're
maintained.
both state maintained.
All
But we
the
can,
main routes through
we'll-
downtown are
And-
state maintained, so we have to coordinate with DelDOT, but those are already all-way, those are already controlled by traffic signals, so, I mean, the only thing we can do
Well,
is
the
change
traffic signal,
timing.
excuse me,
Yeah.
since you cut her off, I'm cutting you off. It can't be handled by traffic signals because there's been 8 accidents there, so something's going on there.
absolutely, yeah, we'll absolutely follow up with DelDOT on that one.
Okay, that's my third question.
Councilman Hackett, then Owens, and then we have 2 council members online.
Thank you. I just want to make a quick statement. You know, as we look at our budget today, and we know that we talk about the $1.7 million deficit that could possibly go into our year. And as I look at the budget, we look at the fleets that's going to be added, the 3 vehicles. And I just look and see, and we look at our community today that's, you know, basically putting it on their back, once again, increasing the budget. And it's not based upon emergency services. It's not based upon something that's going to be a direct help to our community. So I only ask, that, you know, we, as council, and I only ask that we start to look at these things and we start to realize that the budgets need to be a little bit more mean at this point, especially when we're talking about our community and what they're going through today. Just to piggyback on Councilwoman Oliver and her vehicle ordinance, when you go on Gov Deals, you got to sign up and you got to pay $100, which also creates a barrier for some of our people in our community. And then also, when you go on Gov Deals, everybody in America can vote, can bid on our vehicles today. So that, you know, that could take it from a $2,000 vehicle all the way to $20,000, depending on how many people bid on it. And I think there's a great opportunity for somebody that is going to college or somebody that is in our community that's working in our city to be able to pick up a vehicle, and who knows what the life may be. But it's a great start for somebody. It's a great foundation for somebody. And I think we are buying fleets, and there's another return on investment that might not be dollars, but something that we can have for our people today. So when I look at procurement in our city, maybe there's an extra step that we do take to try to figure out how do we promote to our city employees before it does get to Gov Deals. Now, I don't know what that looks like, but I think there's a great opportunity there. And then for our parking signs, you know, I'm a guy that I travel all over the place, and Park Mobile is a very frequent company that a lot of states use. But what Park Mobile has is they have signs that have the zones in those areas. So if you go to Philadelphia right now, I can go pick up the app and it lets me know what zone I'm in. I hit the zone, my car is saved, and it's probably a 2-second transaction to make. You also can just literally put a meter on the time. You can spin the actual clock. But we don't have that. We don't have that here. I've tried several times. Some of our meters is down. Looking for Market Street, you would think that we would have signs all across from down at the riverfront all the way through to basically tell people what zone they in different aspects. That also can be a thing for people to remember when they come back, and just different little small points. My bigger question today, and maybe somebody can help me, I was just looking at some of the administrative costs and for motor vehicle and general liability. And when I looked at FY2023 and the motor vehicle cost at $153,000, general liability was at $76,000, and then in FY24 it spiked to $168,000 for the general cost. And then we had another spike again, but which I can see maybe we're adding on more vehicles, but then in FY2025 for general liability, it went to $200K. But then it went down to $55K the next year. I'm just trying to see what are those variables that could have dictated those jumps in our city.
Are you looking at the internal services for motor vehicle? Just want to make sure we're looking at the same thing.
Yeah, I'm on page 61. Looks like Public Work Administration right here. Right here.
I don't know, internal services under the admin division.
Yeah, internal service under the admin division. And then I do have one follow-up. That's it, yeah.
Page 61, right?
Page 61.
So they're accidents. Those liability claims are related to accidents.
Okay.
So whatever we get, we report. Every month I get a list from motor vehicle of all the accidents. If the accident damage is greater than $1,000, that gets transferred over to risk management. and then the motor vehicle fund gets reimbursed that dollar amount so we can purchase the replacement vehicle. And if it doesn't cover the whole cost of it because of the straight line depreciation of the vehicle, I got to put the rest of it up. So at the end of the day, that means if a bunch of cars get crashed and we don't have all the money coming from risk management to replace them, somebody's not getting a vehicle that year.
Right.
Perfect. Just wanted to know what that was for, so thank you for the explanation. My next little quick statement is definitely about the snow and what we had to go through with our equipment in our storms. Not expecting that much snow, but once again, you know, we got to figure out what that looks like in the future because we are a city that possibly, or state that, you know, is real tricky when it comes to snow, especially the weather that follows after that. But then it had me thinking about the equipment, so I go to street cleaning, and I look at FY2027 actual, and then FY26, and then we're proposing again FY27 150,000, but we haven't used anything in the last 3 years. So I asked.
Well, so like this year, we had to do a budget amendment. We spent 1.6 million.
Well, not on. I'm not for street cleaning. I moved to street cleaning.
That's street cleaning.
Okay, for the
Street,
snow
that's
removal.
equipment
Okay.
rental for street cleaning.
Okay.
So I typically budget and have for probably the last 15 years, 150,000 in equipment rental. That's for like the base amount for one or two small events with a limited amount of equipment. Most of, we've changed our lineup of city-owned equipment over the last 10 to 12 years, got away from a lot of the larger dump trucks, which when we weren't using them for snow removal, sat in the yard and were rusting away, and the cost of those trucks has about doubled over that time period. We're buying a lot more F350, F450 turbo diesels, where, again, benefits are twofold. Trucks are smaller, I can get into tighter neighborhoods, and we can get into areas that we couldn't get a big dump truck into, and I don't need a CDL driver to drive the truck.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And just a point of context, the second storm, Winter Storm Hernando, that only cost us 50 grand in equipment rental. So even with a large amount of snow, which we did have, it was a significant, like, what was it, 10 inches, 8 inches, somewhere around there in Hernando. That amount was perfectly sufficient. And so even in a year where you potentially had 3 Hernandos, that 150 in equipment rental would be sufficient. Fern, again, just for everybody, just remind everybody, that was different because of the deep freeze.
And the
So,
ice.
yeah,
And the
the
ice.
deep
It wasn't-
freeze
we can-
caused ice. And so when you deal with ice, you have to do extraction, which is when we weren't renting snow plows, we were renting heavy construction equipment, which is unusual. So, unusual storm.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to Councilman Owens, then Councilwoman Harley, and Councilman Spadola. I think he had his hand up as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question going back to the traffic calming devices. So the always stop control reports, those are reports just for stop signs to go up, correct?
Correct.
All right. When it actually comes to traffic calming devices outside of stop signs, what has been the biggest barrier for the department actually implementing some of that? I know y'all have talked about the fire trucks and the sanitation trucks. You don't want to cause any issues with those vehicles. But I recently got to take a trip up to Philadelphia and see how they've implemented their traffic calming devices with elongated rubber bumps. That has worked in a lot of neighborhoods, and I was wondering, I know we had someone from the Office of Philadelphia talk about that at one of our committee meetings with y'all. Is there a reason why we haven't gone with that option yet?
Steph, I'll defer to the mayor's office, but again, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Police cars, fire trucks, ambulances, trash trucks, school buses, and plows having speed bumps that you'll find like in the suburbs on city streets cause a lot of damage to our equipment that then we have to spend more in fleet costs to fix. It also, if you put speed bumps on one street, a lot of times what you'll do is divert the traffic to the surrounding streets because they say on Jessup Street, they won't go down Jessup Street anymore, but they may go down 2 blocks to Church or Pine Street and then or up to Market Street to go around them because they don't want to, every 100 feet or so go over a speed bump. And I've seen some of the rubber ones you're talking about. I mean, something typically like that, we would want to take those up before the winter season so we're not hitting them with plows and pushing them into a pile at the end of the road. But if you have any additional questions, I've got our Transportation Director, Steve Weber's in the audience. He can certainly come up and tell you what our consultant, our engineer, RK&K, has looked into.
Deputy Chief?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we trust the expertise of our Public Works Department on that one, and that's always been the concern, essentially. But if you'd like, definitely send us the contact information for the person you met with in Philadelphia. That way we can kind of talk to them and see what they've experienced in using those and what type of neighborhoods they've used them in, if it's substantially similar to what we have here, and how they've handled some of the challenges.
Madam Chair.
All right, Councilwoman Harley,
Oh, okay.
and then Councilwoman Willauer, and then I'll get you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question for Vince. Question number 3 in your presentation, where it states, considering the winter storm, that you poured an average of 6.5 inches of, well, it's dealing with potholes. My question is this: your response was that you the department, I'm sorry, has been filling 40 to 60 potholes per day. My question is this. I get a number of questions and calls regarding potholes. How do you determine which potholes you're going to fill each day? Because of course, I know we had a bad winter storm, but I'm just curious to know, how do you determine which potholes? Do you do it by district? Do you do it by severity? How do you determine that?
So at this point, again, talking to my supervisors about this before I came down here, whatever list they get, they've got multiple crews. They'll fill up the back of the dump truck with hot mix asphalt and go out and hit them all day. That's what they've got 3 crews running around every day doing right now. So I would recommend for the constituents, call it into 311 or our Public Works call center. Again, as I said, all of our supervisors were again reminded by me today that everybody from every division, whether they're in street maintenance or not, sanitation, all of our people who are out driving around the streets, if they pass a pothole, put it on a list, turn it into operations. We'll give that to our supervisor over in street and sewer maintenance, and then they break the list down to the crews, and they go out and they get the complaints for that day, and they'll go after them. Obviously, if we get a lot of them in one specific district, they'll go out and hit them hard. But I need to know where they are, and we try to cover as many streets as we can. That's why it's important to rely on the other departments within the city who are out driving around, as well as our own forces. When they're going by them, put them on a list, turn them over, and we'll get somebody on them.
Just to add to what the Deputy Commissioner just stated, it is imperative that you call them into 311 or you contact the Department of Public Works call center. This stuff is inputted into service requests. And what the supervisors get is service requests through CityWorks. And we do operate off a matrix, performance indicators. So they're conscious of that as well. So as those service requests come in, they prioritize those so that they can get out there and fill those potholes. Again, you should definitely get it into the system so that they can at least prioritize it for that particular day.
Okay, I'll follow up,
Yes.
Madam Chair. Okay, thank you for that response and that information. And the reason, well, one, to my understanding, the residents are calling 311. But again, how do you determine the severity of it? And I guess you really don't have anyone that really, goes around and look to see, because a number of people wanted to know, does the city reimburse them for busted tires, for busted rims on their cars and things of that nature? So that's the reason why I presented the question. And then I want to make a suggestion that maybe someone from the department can look at the requests that come through 311 and possibly just go around to see, all of them, I'm sure, are not of the same, they're not the same, but some of them are pretty deep, because I have actually driven over potholes that were pretty deep and steep. So I just wanted to make that suggestion, if possible, to just kind of look at your list and maybe try to determine which ones should be a higher priority than the others. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
So Councilmember Harley, if when constituents or yourself are calling these in, if they indicate that this is large and deep, they will notate that on there. The supervisors get these service requests through CityWorks on their computers and tablets every day. They will see that, and we will address them. I mean, the commissioner and myself were out driving around one day and saw a couple of huge patches that were failing due to the weather, and I made a call while I was out driving, and I had somebody out there later that day filling them in. I mean, we will absolutely prioritize them, but our crews look for them. All of our folks that are out on the street driving, they put the list together, and we try to address things as proactively as we can. But if there is a certain one that is a menace to somebody, please call it in and report it as such. We will handle it promptly.
Okay, I'll do that, and thank you very much. And your department does a great job. Whenever there's a need, they get right on it, so thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bauer.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. I just wanted to say, following up on what Council Member Harley was talking about potholes, potholes are something that I hear about a lot too. And there's a lot of really deep potholes that, I wouldn't think that they would have to be reported. I guess a lot of residents say, does Public Works keep track of these and have a plan for filling them in? And I guess my question to you is 40 or 50 a day, do you have an estimate of how many potholes you have to fill in the city, and like when the potholes are going to be fixed, like when we're going to have our streets in, when will you be, like, when will you get the pothole problem? When are people not going to face so many deep potholes, I guess, in the city of Wilmington? Do you know when that's going to be accomplished?
And before you answer that, I just want to acknowledge Council President Trippy Congo is online. I didn't acknowledge him earlier, so sorry about that, sir.
Like, how many days will it get to get this done?
So hot mix asphalt just became available about 2.5 to 3 weeks ago. So filling potholes, and we've had this discussion before, filling potholes with cold patch is a temporary winter solution. Once you get a couple snowstorms and rain, it's going to wash out. The crews are now going out, and they are filling potholes with hot mix asphalt on a daily basis. As the calls come in, we address them. I've only got so many people assigned to that division. All the crews are working on potholes on a daily basis. If the folks call them in, our crews get reported to our crews. We address them as quickly as we can. I just want to be careful to address, there's a difference between road cuts that are going on and construction work that's happening by others and potholes. Typically, the potholes we're seeing are caused by the freeze-thaw cycle of a very bad winter and an extended cold spell that lasted for over 3 weeks. We have not had potholes this bad in quite a number of years, but for road cuts and those type of things, they're being addressed by whoever's doing them, whether it's a Delmarva project, whether it's a city project. Paving and restoration work are going on in various areas throughout the city currently. And that's for permanent restoration, not just pothole repair.
Yeah, and I had a follow-up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was talking about potholes. I was talking about these deep potholes that people hit and it, messes up the tires, and they're, in a roadway, and they see them like this week, last week. So I was just talking about potholes. We've had several conversations about the road cuts and the timeline for finishing them. But just, do you have a sense of like when you're going to get to, like, are you trying to get all the potholes filled by like the end of this month or by the end of next month?
We will get to them as soon as we can. We don't know of where all of them are unless they're reported. So again, hence for the all hands on deck type of, pothole patrol. You see something out there, report it. We address it as soon as we can. These guys they've got 3 crews that are out there doing nothing but addressing these all day long.
Okay, great. I had another follow-up. Is that possible? It was a different topic.
Go ahead.
Okay, about traffic calming, I see, the west side has a lot of accidents on Lancaster, on 2nd, and on West 4th Street. And we've been talking about, next steps. And I see here Lancaster Avenue and North Broome Street, Lancaster Avenue corridor, and accident history review. Is that traffic calming? Is that like actually implementing any changes, or is that just looking at the accidents?
Yeah, Steve will respond to that.
You can come up to one of the mics.
I just want to comment to Councilman, on 4th Street and Walnut Street, there are two major DelDOT projects that are happening now. 2nd Street, these are all state-maintained roads, so we have to coordinate anything on a state-maintained road with DelDOT.
It's green now, is it? Okay. This is Steve Weber, Director of Transportation for City of Wilmington. Thank you, Council, Chair and council members. The Lancaster comment was more or less, we had initiated a review for that, but it has since been turned over to MAPCO, so I took it kind of off. At that point, it was a initial request for investigation. So again, these are all portion steps, it's not full completions. So that's just the projects that we worked on this year. The original response is not traffic calming devices. The petition was for traffic calming investigation and traffic calming. So part of that investigation is to do a full-blown study. And based on the response from the study, there's recommendations, and we follow the recommendations that are there.
Do you have a follow-up, Councilmember Willauer, before we go to?
You know, I don't want to take up too much time. I'll let other people go, and then I do have a couple other questions.
Okay, we're going to go to Councilman Owens, and then Councilwoman Oliver, and then Hackett.
Who's me next?
Oh, and then Councilwoman Oliver, sorry.
Did you call my name? Thank you. I don't know if y'all watch the news every now and then, but Sherelle Parker, who's doing an excellent job in Philly, they have like not a 311, but potholes. They show where the people who ride around in the public works vehicles write down where they see potholes. I think it's a good idea. I had Dr. Kendra write it up. It's just it says location. I was going to put it in everybody's mailbox today, but I think that wouldn't be a bad idea for your public works drivers. I know they're busy, but they see potholes like we see them. So
I actually saw that article. It was the Philadelphia Pothole Patrol.
Yes.
And that's essentially what we did. We sent out something to all our division directors, our supervisors, foremen, everybody who's driving on the road. I even encourage the mayor's office to send it out to other departments, L&I and other folks who are in city vehicles on a daily basis driving around town. If you see it, report it, we'll address it.
Okay. I think that, I just mentioned, I thought it was a great idea because that pothole off of 95 off of West Street past the fire station has been there for the longest. And the reason why I mentioned, I'm glad Hardy brought it up, but I had it for the next question. I have a young lady who was on the line. She said, please mention her name. Her name is Nicole. She had called Channel 6 for action for the potholes here in Wilmington. We discussed this when it was the potholes on Lumber Street. The reason why I'm mentioning is this because I know for risk management, for city vehicles, y'all take care of the cars or whatever. Is there any funding that you could put to the side? I mean, this young lady had three flat tires, and no one from risk management ever called her back. And I know the city doesn't pay for them, but at some point, it becomes costly. So we can sit here and act like, well, potholes, call them in. If you see it, you say it. I think we need to stress that to the drivers. If drivers are coming back to the yard, maybe it should be a box, because nobody can tell me that they're riding around the city all day and nobody's getting, it's no slips in the box, because I'm riding around the city and not as much as they are, and I just started last week and I have 6 of them that I haven't turned in. So if they're riding, all them city cars are riding around, like you said, maybe need to enforce, say, like, I know y'all see some potholes out there. It's a big one in front of Howard School that's been there for almost a month. I've reported, and my point is not to just keep talking about potholes, but it seems like if that, like you saw the article, you saw it on TV, that could be a very good enforcement, and maybe enforce it to the supervisors, because once again, if it's a basket or a box over there to put them in, that's helpful, because if they see them and they're not reporting, what good is that, just to say if you see it, report it?
They've actually been instructed to submit those lists on a daily basis to our operations division.
Well, I'm not going to go back and forth, but if you don't have 10 by the end of the week, they're not doing it. That's because we just, right is right, right? So I want to mention that, and I'm not going to get into a lot more, but I just really think it's important that these potholes are addressed, because this young lady had 3 flat tires, one on the east side, one on Lancaster, and she said one off north side somewhere, and that's 3. She has kids, and nobody in the city didn't pay her back for them flat tires.
Councilwoman, Commissioner Williams is online, and she actually just sent me a message. What she was suggesting is that we will explore using the radio so that at the same time when the
Good idea.
employees are out on the street,
Oh,
they can
just
just
call it
call it in directly to the call center.
That makes
So that
sense.
is something that the commissioner just
Excellent
wanted to share.
idea. Don't call it in the 311, you won't get through, but call the call center. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Owens.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. First off, I want to say the pothole by Howard I hit earlier today on my way here. Just had to turn my radio off and drive here. Drive here. Sorry, this is me sending it in now. But I do want to say thank you to y'all for working with me over on Franklin Place. As y'all know, that road was down to the
Terrible.
cobblestone.
Oh, yeah.
It was really bad over there. So I do want to say thank you for that. I did. I heard that you and the commissioner did a kind of drive-through. If it is possible, I would love to join y'all on a drive-through through the first district, just to go over where some of the other major concerns are, where some of the like deeper potholes are, just so that we can all be on the same page. And I do know that it takes time, and we have a very small window in which we can actually get the hot paving down.
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of, we just issued the work, I just issued a work order on this about a week and a half ago. There is a lot of paving that's going to be happening up in your district for all the gas restoration that has been piled up since the winter months. They're going to be out there in force. So I guess the next calls you're going to get are people complaining about the parking, but I'll be in and out as fast as we can.
Take your
And-
time,
and all
do
the
it right.
roads all the roads will be paved curb to curb, and we should be good, hopefully, for the next 10 years.
Yes, thank you so much for that.
All right, we're going to go to Councilman Hackett, and then we're going to go back online to Councilman Cabrera, and then we're going to go to Marshall.
This is just a quick question for Deputy Chief of Staff Stephanie, and once again, I'm just trying to get an understanding with the fleet vehicles that we look to be adding. Do you think that it's the appropriate time right now for us to be adding vehicles, especially knowing that we just took on the EMS, we're adding vehicles, but these ones don't correspond to any direct help in our community?
So in general, they're not necessarily adding vehicles to the fleet, they're replacing. So unless that's something you're saying,
no,
in yours,
these are
that they're
the
completely
these are
new?
the ones that are being added. The park and rec new vehicle and then also the treasurer's vehicle, and then we had a dump truck vehicle. Personally, those are purchased. Those look like those are new purchases.
Got it.
Which we possibly do have an opportunity for, like you said, shared fleet, possibly loaners and different things to that nature before we go and add more costs. Because, when it comes to council and we're trying to add new things, it's always, we talk about how council, we can't be adding new things when, we're at this situation we're at today.
Understood. How about this? I will get I can't help you with the treasurer. You'll have to ask him during his budget meeting. But for the other two vehicles, I will get a detailed explanation from both departments on exactly what the vehicle is needed for. That way we can kind of, help justify it to council.
And I can speak to the Public Works vehicle. That was an additional dump truck for our urban forest crew. So right now, they have the bucket truck and a small van, which the previous urban forester purchased, which is not appropriate. They can't do any work with the van. So a dump truck is what they need to be able to put, when they cut up branches, when they cut up stumps and put sections of trees and put them in a dump, they need to be able to take them over to our yard waste site off of Hay Road to dump everything. That was the reason for adding a dump truck to forestry.
No, thank you so much for the answer on that one. Also, when we talk about revenue that we're trying to build, I also think if we did look at the ordinance that Councilwoman Oliver had, that could be a revenue generator. We have 30 vehicles and we had them for $3,000 a piece or wherever the case may be. But I think there's an opportunity for
So
some
just so you
revenue.
know, when we do sell these
Gov
on
deals?
Gov deals now, and we
Okay.
do get, in some, we are actually getting more money for them off of Gov deals now than we used to from utility auctions, which is it was a local auction company that we used to use out of Wilmington. This has got to be probably over 10 years ago now. They closed down, but procurement would have to give the exact numbers, because once I dispose of a vehicle, I don't see it, but I know they're They're getting good money for the vehicles that we sell. We're not giving them away.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, may I be excused?
Yes.
I'd just like to thank Public Works for the good job they've been doing, and I'm glad I saw the forestry crew out there today on the east side, and they're really doing a good job. But I'd like to, one last question. Who was the contractor who took all the trees up off Pine Street? It's no trees on Pine Street, and when you take down the trees, you're supposed to replace two. And I just want to put that out there, so if somebody could send me an email.
I think
It's
Pine Street may be a real estate and housing project. What 100 block are you talking
the
about?
900 block.
I think that's a real estate and housing project that's going on.
I
right
never,
now.
I'm saying that because I've never seen a block that they did sidewalk, no, all the sidewalk, brand new sidewalk, and took down all the trees, and there's elderly people who live around there. And I know some people who work with the land bank and some of these other organizations, and they think they own their communities. But what community do you know that doesn't have a tree on their block? That makes no sense to me. So now, today I received 2 calls. I rode past there, it looks really nice, and I really just noticed, I thought they had put some small trees. It's no trees on 9th and Pine, and the old ladies want their trees back, and I agree with them. And they even covered up the, what you call it?
The tree pits?
Yeah, they covered up the tree pits. Who does that? And it's a nice article in DCH. I mean, like, we say one thing, then we do another. Now, that makes no sense to me. We got to do some common sense around here.
Understood. We will follow up on those trees.
My community.
All right, Councilwoman Cabrera.
Thank you very much. Wasn't going to talk about the trees, but I agree 100%. We need to have more green trees in the city. It promotes a lot cooling and safety and even security. But first I wanted to thank Public Works, Commissioner Kelly, Vince, the whole department. You guys are a tight-knit group. You do a good job. And, of course, you get the most complaints, whether it's trash pickup, recycle, the snow, the Armageddon snowstorm that we had. People are never going to be happy no matter what you do. So just want to say that I appreciate how you put yourself out there, did the best you could with what was handled. A long conversation about potholes. I just want to put in my bid for potholes on Baynard Boulevard, because when we put in the bike lane, which is great, I want bikers to be safe, and we reduce it down to 1 lane. Should have fixed the potholes first, because now they definitely got worse. My son today was guiding me through the potholes. Can't go this way, can't go that way. There's a big one there. He's got them memorized. But just wanted to say that you guys are doing a great job, and we appreciate you and understand the needs and the challenges that we have as we're moving forward. And just wanted to say thank you. My council colleagues covered a lot of the questions, and I too would like to come for a ride along one of these days and really see the impact of what this department does. I think until you really have a day in the life of a public works employee, you really don't get it. Starting with our sanitation workers, I mean, the job that they do, rain or shine, bad weather, it really is something. I know that there's certain weather conditions they won't work in and can't work in, but for the most part, they're out there doing the job. So I just wanted to close this out by saying thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember.
Thank you, Ms. Bass-Knight, and then Councilwoman Willauer.
Yes, if we can go back to slide number 27, and so with slide number 27, there is the signal electrician and the special projects coordinator. So both of those positions have been vacant like almost 3 years now.
I commented on that.
Yes.
So the special projects coordinator, an offer has been made to a candidate.
Okay. And
The signal electrician, we have had a tremendous difficulty filling this position. We have tried multiple times. The salary, the top salary is not commensurate with what an electrician would be making. That's the problem.
is that position, Chair, if I may?
Yep, go ahead.
Is that position union or non-union or appointed?
It's a 320 position.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just making sure with those two positions, since
Yeah.
they were so long, that residency didn't have anything to do with those
The
particular
single
ones.
electrician, I think, is more along the lines of the top of the salary range.
Okay. And Chair, if I can.
Go ahead.
So one of the questions we touched on was was slide number 52. We talked about the the water sewer utility. So I'm not sure if something is going on with that particular account line because year-to-date, we're 896,000, but the budget is 550,000. So I'm not sure like what's going on. I mean, there was a question in that with the auditor's office
Yeah, I
as
can
well?
answer that.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, so I already addressed this with accounting.
Okay.
My, Derek's staff came to me and, because he asked them, why is your budget in the red? There was an issue with the CIS system that caused a double billing over into the line. I spoke with the accounting manager, and she put a correcting entry, or is putting a correcting entry together. There was, when I went through and sorted it, there were double entries for the same month, so they were charged twice.
Is that, I'm sorry, and Chair,
That's for water sewer
is
charges.
that the new Enquester system?
Something sent to, when
Okay.
I went through and looked at the details in the general ledger, I sorted it by date and by amount, and there were double entries for multiple counts. I brought it to her attention, and she was going to go in and do a correcting entry to fix it. I saw the same thing because the staff was coming to me, asking me why the line's running in the red. And I'm like, I don't know. We know how much we use every year on our meters. So let me look into it. And it appeared to be a accounting snafu within the system.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Councilwoman Willauer, and then Councilwoman Chair Harley.
Yes. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you too. I really do appreciate everything the Department of Public Works does. And, you know, I have all these things to say about the potholes just because I hear about them like all the time from residents. But I do think that there's a huge amount of work that the Department of Public Works staff, workers get done every day, you know, day in, day out. And I do want to thank you and let you know how much I appreciate and how much the city residents really appreciate everything you do. And, you know, with the potholes, my question to you, in addition to saying like, when are you going to get this done, is I did want to ask, like, do you need more resources this year for potholes? You know, so I just wanted to put that out there. And thank you again. And please let us know. We don't want to just give you a hard time. We want to know that we're spending the money, you know, to get the things done that are a priority for residents.
Understood.
Thank you very much.
All right, Chair Harley.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to focus on slide number 43 under contracted maintenance. And on that slide, under the second bullet, where it reads all way stop control reports, my question is, are these traffic study reports? Slide 43?
Yes, the always stop controls are reports requesting an additional, normally already a two-way stop, people are requesting an always stop there. So we have to go through and do the analysis of traffic volumes, the warrant analysis, accident history, and other things similar to that.
Okay. A quick follow-up, Madam Chair. South Warner Street, there was a traffic study conducted, and under the third bullet, it lists the South Warner Street and A Street intersection review and recommendations. So both of those are in the 4th District, and I was very involved with requesting those traffic studies. So the one on A Street, what does that mean, review and recommendations? I just wanted to get clarification because I thought that when they put down the calming devices, I understand that traffic studies had to be conducted first. And since these two streets had traffic studies, I just wanted to make sure that they qualify and will be considered.
So that actually is for one intersection. It's for Walnut and A Street. There was a large accident cluster there. A lot of the signage. So there's actually recommendations to clean up some signs, add new pavement markings. But when the report came out, it was during the wintertime, and we don't do painting during the wintertime. Now that the spring is here, that is on one of our schedules to be done during the weekend and to get it improved. So we have a whole list of recommendations for new signage, some pavement markings, some arrows, just to help clarify the Walnut, going northbound on Walnut, to help clarify the lane splits.
Okay, so it doesn't sound like these have anything to do with the traffic study, so I'll follow up offline.
Okay. Sure.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Deputy Chief.
Yes, Madam Chair, if you wouldn't mind, I would like to go back and answer a question from Councilman Hackett.
Okay.
Okay, so the 15-passenger van for Parks and Recreation. This is for the William Hicks Anderson Community Center and in the Recreation Division. So they are asking for a 15-passenger van to support the growing transportation needs of youth programming at Hicks Anderson and across the Recreational Division citywide. This request is critical to sustaining and expanding recreational, educational, and cultural programming while supporting increased collaboration among community centers and external program partners. As programming continues to expand and diversify, transportation capacity has become a significant operational constraint. An additional van housed at Hicks will directly address this limitation and allow the Recreation Division to meet both current and anticipated demands to meet the mayor's priority and educational initiatives. And I can't speak for the fact that we put a lot of demand on Hicks and on parks for transportation. We definitely relied on them during the snowstorm to transport people from Christina Park to Hicks. And we use them whenever we have people, when we have kids visit the city for different activities. We recently had students visit from the Junior Achievement Center to visit various areas in the city. We relied on parks for that. So these do get used, and I definitely see the value in having another vehicle there.
Now, I'm going to wait for Park and Rec and, to be able to see, actually, I'm at William Hicks Anderson every day. So I need to, try to figure out where the programs and where the kids is, going to better understand. When I grew up, they had a van. I see them still have a van that they take the kids, and they might take them to a place. And if they got 5 or 10, 15 other kids, they'll go back and pick those kids up. So maybe it is a time-consuming thing. I'm just looking at our community today as a whole, as we look at the budget and we talk about the deficit and just figuring out how we can, look at, is this a next year thing? Till we figure out where we're at this year, especially with property taxes and more stuff. I think this is just a year where we need to review certain different things. And if there is an addition next year to come back, once we feel more comfortable with creating different things that's going to help us bring down that deficit. So,
Thanks. Councilman Owens, and then we're going to go into public comment.
Just to piggyback on that, I guess this would be more a public works question than a parks question about the van. The 15-passenger van that y'all are looking to acquire for them, is it a certain set standard of what type of vehicle we get for Parks and Rec? Do they use the old Chevys, or are we looking at like a newer Ford Transit that has more space in it as well too?
We would typically look, for most of the vehicles purchased, we're looking at whatever we'll purchase on state contract pricing. So on a state contract, typically on these vehicles, we get better pricing on than you would ever be able to get, even if you're buying them at below dealer's invoice on there. It's the price. That's why we use it, because it's the most efficient way for us to purchase certain types of vehicles that aren't on the contract. We will have to put our own specifications together to go out to bid for. But typically vans, pickup trucks, those type of things, we're going to purchase off state contract, and we'll go with whatever what the specs are on those respective contracts.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, at this time, we're going to see if there are any questions from the public, online or in person. Seeing none, last round for Councilman. Oh, we have two in the back. Please come up and state your name, what district you live in, if you live in. And just a friendly reminder, public comments are limited to 3 minutes, and we should be talking to issues germane to our budget. Thanks.
Sure. My name is Gene Messick. I serve for mutual aid organizations that help the people that live in Christina Park in the 4th District. Wanted to thank Public Works for the great work that they're doing. Things are getting cleaned up. Needs are being met. We're working with the potholes and everything. There's a couple small suggestions I can give to try to reduce some of the waste that is happening at Christina Park. Every time you guys bring out the environmental group, that's something like $60,000. You have people down there that are looking for work and want to work and would do the work if you would simply offer them the opportunity. Able-bodied men, able-bodied women. So I just want to make sure that that's put on the table, see if we can figure out how to do that. So try to help you with your labor issue, especially at the park. It's simple work. Couple things also down at the park. Recently, you put everybody in a grid, which I understand this for uniformity and for aesthetics or whatever. That's fine. You put disabled people about 300 feet away from accessible porta potties. There's a gentleman down there that walks with a walker and has to, in the middle of the night, in complete darkness, travel about 100 yards to go to the bathroom at night multiple times. You have street lights installed there that have been off for 2 years. What can we do to get those turned back on for safety purposes? Additionally, there's a lot of trash that piles up. And most of the problem there is that there's nowhere to put it. It would really help out if the dumpster that is brought by could be exchanged instead of just dropped and taken away, because the longer that the trash sits around, the worse it gets, and the more you're going to need those biohazard type people coming in, rather than just having a receptacle there that people could handle their own trash. Other thing, access to sanitary facilities is terrible right now. I spoke to a woman today that has been trying for weeks to get a job, and one of her biggest barriers right now is that she can't get a shower. She told me how she was covered in her own mints for 3 days because she couldn't get a shower. And she was denied a job for this. She went to a job interview, and the employer said, thank you, have a nice day, but the implication was that she smelled bad. That's unacceptable. One shower on a Saturday every 2 weeks, that's unacceptable. We need transportation, we need access to sanitary facilities, and the porta potties need to be cleaned more than twice a week. There's too many people down there. It piles up. They need more. They need more cleaning, more porta potties. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ben?
That was you.
And watch your step.
Hi, my name is Jeanne Kambara. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak, and I really actually enjoyed learning about public works and the stuff being done in the city. I actually really did appreciate hearing how passionate the city is in addressing the issue of potholes, and it's good to know that, that there's work being done somewhere. But I'm coming back from volunteering at Christina Park, and I have some thoughts to share about, kind of city cleanliness, since that's a lot about what we're talking about here. So the people of Christina Park, they are really quite tidy people. The problem is they lack access to showers, hygiene care. They struggle to maintain a basic standard of living, and, that's affecting their ability to seek employment. It's really not a dirty place. The community in Christina Park is a genuine community. Kids visit their families, folks care for their homes. So, I have a suggestion if the city wants to save money, which is instead of, spending money to clean up the park all the time and take away the precious few belongings these residents have, consider instead providing shower access, emptying their porta potties, regular distribution of clean water, a dumpster to improve garbage disposal. These type of things are doable, and the residents are fully capable of maintaining the space in the community, and they want to do so. They will keep that park clean if they're given the means to do it themselves. Also, consider providing them with gas and fuel, simple, easy solutions that can drastically improve and even save lives. I also want to say that while new tents have been bought to replace the $40 tents, rather than assuring me that the city cares, I am now wondering how much money the city is going to spend learning from mistakes over and over again. So I'm here to restate the past requests for investing $10 million of city and state funding into the construction and operation of low-barrier emergency and transitional shelters and supportive housing units, identifying city-owned Wilmington land-owned banks or Wilmington Housing Authority-owned vacant buildings.
I'm sure you guys.
Go ahead.
And vacant owned buildings that can be transitioned into housing for people experiencing homelessness and housing insecure families. Unfortunately, passing the buck onto Friendship House to figure things out is just, it's not a solution. The city is burning people out in addition to burning money by investing in short-term aesthetic band-aids over long-term systemic change. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And online, we have Jamila Davy for public comment.
Hi there. I'm Jamila Davy. I'm a resident of the 5th District, and I also want to thank Public Works for all they do. I have a couple of questions related to some of the topics that have come up in our Neighborhood Planning Council. One of them relates to trees. I'm always glad to hear everyone speaking to that, and I want to assure Councilmember Oliver that we have some places in the 5th District with blocks without a single tree on them as well. We've been working on a street inventory over there, and there are places in our communities that are just more densely built that it's hard to fit the trees in there. So it's a reality. So one of my questions is, is Public Works thinking systemically about trees as public infrastructure, especially as we're thinking about our state being the second fastest warming state, and us having, areas of our city that are 10 or 15 degrees hotter on average than other areas. And, the health, concerns that come with that for vulnerable communities. So, as I read up on this and learn more about it, I understand that, we have to think about, for trees, we have to think about like sharing the space under the sidewalk and really, get to planning at that level, to achieve having more trees in our communities. And another thing, related to trees, I'm curious about a couple of things. One, is there, does Public Works budget to do street tree maintenance, and how can residents access that as a process? We took a look at the street tree, the permit process, but the way it reads, it looks like, that residents have to, provide the resources for the street tree trimming, and for some of our communities, that's just really not possible. And there's some mixed signals that we dedicated a meeting to this recently, and where we had some residents that have some particularly problematic trees that are, damaging their homes. And it's, I recognize that trees are a challenging bit of infrastructure, to deal with. And, but these folks could neither, we're told they weren't able to, they weren't in control of these trees, that they were the city's property instead of the residents. But then as soon as the tree became a hazard, it was the residents' concern. So their responsibility. So I wanted to ask, how the city's planning around these issues. Are they looking at them comprehensively? And is there a consideration of bringing back the tree commission as a possible space for residents to raise these concerns and talk to the people who make the decisions and have the resources, or where someone can go like Councilwoman Oliver's question to find out about a proposed removal.
10 seconds.
Thank you very much. Oh, actually one more question. I'll save it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we have your contact information, Ms. Davy, so we can follow up with you. I'll turn it back to council. Any other questions from council? All right. So I would like to thank Commissioner Williams, Deputy Commissioner Carocha, Mr. C.J. Jones from OMB, Director Akbar, the entire Parks and Rec team for your time this evening. As you've heard from many of your even the public and my colleagues, we appreciate all of the hard work that you guys do. You guys get a bad rap all the times. When things go right, we don't thank you enough. And when everything goes bad or, seemingly bad, i.e. the snowstorm, you guys get blamed for it all. And so we thank you for all of the work that you guys are doing to keep our city clean and operational. And we appreciate you taking the time to share your thoughts around the budget. Also, would like to thank OMB's the full team, Director Greco, all of the department heads that have been participating in our budget hearings, WITN, council staff, Ajay English, who has been tirelessly assisting us, and members of the public. We really appreciate when members of the public participate. It's important for us to hear from you. Our next budget hearing will be Monday, April 13th at 4:30 p.m., and we'll be hearing from Land Use and Planning and Licensing and Inspections. As always, tune in to WITN Channel 22 to watch our meetings, and you can also watch them online on WITN22.org or on YouTube or on our social media Facebook channels. If you have any other questions about the budget itself, you can view that information at www.wilmingtondebudget.org. And with that, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And I'll second it because I think I'm the only one left.
Amen. So moved.
So motion to adjourn has been accepted. You guys have a great evening.